Now we'll start with electrostatics 3. So in this topic, what we will do is we'll continue with the capacitors part, and we'll do one important topic, which is Van der Graaf generator. So in the last session, you have seen capacitors in series, capacitance in parallel, what is the equivalent capacitance. So based on that, you have two examples in your textbook. We'll jump to that right away. First one is example 8.15, page 205. If you come to that example, you will notice they have given number of electrons as 10 power 8. If you look at the textbook, number of electrons is given as 10 power 8. They have given the potential as 10 volt, and I have to find the capacitance. Very straightforward question. We need to use two formulas. So they have given two parameters. One is number of electrons and one is the potential. How do you find the capacitance? For that, I have to use two formulae in the sense, first let me find the charge Q, because I know the formula for capacitance C. I know that Q is equal to CV, therefore C is equal to Q by V. I know this formula. So V is given in the question. To find Q, let me use the basic formula for charge. Q is equal to NE. Remember, there are two basic formulas for charge. One is Q is equal to IT and one is Q is equal to plus or minus NE. Both of them are covered in the 11th standard. Therefore, if I use the basic formula for charge, Q is equal to NE. N is number of electrons, 10 power 8. And E is charge of each electron, which is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. Therefore, if I substitute, I will get charge as 1.6 into 10 power minus 11 coulomb. So once I get the charge, then it is pretty much straightforward. What is C? I know C is equal to, from this formula, Q by V. Charge I got it from here, V I got it from the question. Therefore, if I simplify, I'll get the capacitance as 1.6 into 10 power minus 10 farad. This completes the problem. Remember, the unit of capacitance is farad. Now, let me go to the next problem. If we go to the next problem, that is the immediate next problem, example 8.16, page number 205. So, if we go to the next problem, they have asked find C, means C is over here, and they have given the equivalent capacitance between A and B is 1 microfarad. So, if you look at the diagram, I have to find this particular capacitance, and they have given equivalent capacitance between A and B as 1 microfarad. And they have given C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, all are in micro. Therefore, I have just written the numbers. So what they are asking me to do is asking me to simplify this circuit and get the value of C. They know that A and B equivalent is 1. So to simplify, if you look at the diagram, very easily, I'll come to know that these two are in parallel. Okay, I'll come to know that these two are in parallel. So let their parallel combination be called CA. So you can see C4 is parallel to C5. C4 is parallel to C5. Therefore, you know capacitance in parallel can directly add up. Therefore, C equivalent 1 is 8, which I'll name it as A. Therefore, instead of drawing 4 and 4, I will just write CA as 8, other capacitance as it is, if you notice. Then, if you notice, C3 and CA are in series. These two are in series. And you know, equivalent capacitance in series is 1 by C, S is equal to 1 by C3 plus 1 by CA. So let this equivalent capacitance be called CB. Therefore, 1 by CB is 1 by 1 plus 1 by 8, 9 by 8. That is 1 by CB. Therefore, CB is 8 by 9. Therefore, now instead of drawing these two, I will just draw 8 by 9. So now if you see this as it is, these two as it is, this equivalent capacitance is 8 by 9. Now if you notice, C1 and C2 are in series. Let me name their equivalent capacitance as CC. Now 8 and 4 are in series. If I do 1 by 8 plus 1 by 4 take reciprocal, I will get their equivalent series capacitance as 8 by 3. I'll get their equivalent series capacitance as 8 by 3. Therefore, instead of writing these two, I will just write 8 by 3. Therefore, look at this. These two were in parallel. This and this were in series. These two were in series. Now what happens is, This and this means this and this are in parallel again. Therefore, CC and CB are in parallel again. That, let me name it as CD. It's direct addition since they are in parallel. 8 by 3 plus 8 by 9. Therefore, CD is equal to 24 plus 8 by 9. Therefore, the equivalent capacitance between them is 32 by 9. Equivalent capacitance between them is 32 by 9. Therefore, if I draw the equivalent circuit now, instead of these two, I can just write 32 by 9. C as it is, A and B as it is. Now, coming to the last part of the question, I know equivalent capacitance between A and B is C equivalent. Therefore, both are in series. Therefore, 1 by C equivalent is equal to 1 by C plus 1 by 32 by 9. It is 9 by 32. Take 9 by 32 over here. Therefore, you will get 1 by C as 23 by 32. C will be 32 by 23, which is nothing but 1.3. So, to do a recap, these two were in parallel. This and this will be in series. These two are in series. These two will be in parallel. And then we come to the equivalent capacitance. You should practice series and parallel very well. Let me show you some common examples of series. When the capacitors are like this, please remember, in any form, like this, like this, like this. If you notice, say, please remember this. These three are in series, these three are in series. I have just taken a rotate. Even these two are in series. Please remember, these are the best examples of capacitance in series. So these two questions, 8.15 and 8.16, are based on capacitance. Okay, in the textbook they have given the answer directly, but I have shown you how it is circuit by circuit. Now, the next topic which I was saying is the last topic in your textbook, which is Van der Graaf generator. It is the last topic in your textbook. Now, Van der Graaf generator is also called particle accelerator, and Van der Graaf generator is named after the person Van der Graaf. Now, he gave an accelerator. The logic is, please understand this carefully, if I am able to inject a positive charge into some target or some element, I can change the element itself. For example, element has certain number of protons. If I am able to inject some additional protons, in other words, I have changed the nature of that element itself. For example, if I add 2 more electrons to hydrogen, it is no longer hydrogen. Similarly, an element is made up of protons, neutrons, electrons. If I am able to change number of protons or number of electrons in an element, I change that element. This is called mutation in biology. But if I am doing it from outside, means purposely, artificially, then that process is called artificial transmutation. And Van der Graaf generator is used for artificial transmutation as well. Now, there are some animation videos on YouTube also you can check for Van der Graaf generator, very well explained. But in general, the purpose of this experiment is, I want to inject positive charge at high speed to a target so that I mutate it. Okay, I want to inject positive charge at high speed. Why at high speed? Only at high speed, if it goes, it gets embedded in that target. Now, if you look at Van der Graaf generator, see, I'll tell you my purpose first. My purpose is from this I, that is my ion source. I want the positive particles to go so fast down so that it hits my target. Now, for the positive particles to go down fast, I require two things. First of all, I require positive particles. Second, I require high speed. Now, let me tell you the working of Van der Graaf generator, and I tell you why do we do it. I take a power source P. Okay, I take a power source P over here, that is supply, and I connect it to one comb, which is called A, which is called as the spray brush. When I switch it on, positive charge will go to this spray brush, and there is a pulley system, pulley and belt system, which keeps turning. So all this positive charge will go to this belt, and this comb will collect it, which is called as my collector brush. Brush and comb means one and the same. So what I have done till now is, I have taken a positive source generator which gives positive charge. This brush collects the positive charge and puts it on the belt, That belt transfers the positive charge to this comb. This comb is connected to this dome D, and all the dome gets positive charge. And this entire system is enclosed in a steel vessel mixed with nitrogen and freon. Why it is mixed with nitrogen and freon, let me tell you right away. To avoid any charge disruption or to avoid charge leakage. In other words, to keep the system stable. Now what happens is, more and more positive charge go to this comb. More and more positive charge hits this comb. Over here, more and more positive charge keeps accumulating on the dome. Okay, if you can see the textbook diagram, you will understand it. So what happens is, more and more positive charge gets accumulated near the dome. So if you notice, here there will be so many positive charges. Here there is nothing. Therefore, I have developed potential difference. What is the meaning of potential difference? Potential difference is difference in potential. I have developed a very huge potential difference. Why? Because over here I have many charges. Over here I don't have any charge. Therefore, the potential difference is a lot. And when potential difference is a lot, when I release the proton or a positive charge, it goes with very high speed, because more potential difference, more energy. More energy means more speed. That is why when the ion gets emitted from this, it is having very high speed. I'll repeat why it is having very high speed. Because it is emitted when the potential difference is very large. How do I know potential difference is very large? Over here, lot of positive charge. Over here, there is nothing. More potential difference, more energy. More energy means more velocity, half mv square. And with that, if I release the particle, it goes with very high speed. And once it goes with very high speed, it gets embedded on the target. This leads to artificial transmutation. Now, if you see the components of Van de Graaff generator, I have P1 and P2, which are pulley. This is P1, P2B is the pulley and belt system. What you have in escalators as well in the shopping malls. Okay, and I know this A and C, one is your spraying comb, one is your collecting comb. So one is your spray brush and one is your collector brush. D is your dome. E is your evacuated accelerated tube, this one, E. I is your ion source over here. P is your supply. S is your steel vessel with nitrogen. It's a very common MCQ now, especially for the new syllabus. Why is nitrogen used? If you look at the textbook, there are some uses of Van de Graaff generator, but on your own, I would suggest you see the limitations also of Van de Graaff generator. Limitation means why we cannot use electron. Answer is because it's very light, but you just see the limitation, and if you can see the animation of this, it will be much more better. You'll understand it very, very well. And M is earth metal plate to take care of the excessive charge. Now this to your, it generates a very high potential, and it works on the principle of corona discharge. C-O-R-O-N-A, it works on the principle of corona discharge. That topic, corona discharge, is a separate topic which will be done in some other chapter. But if they ask you on which principle it is based, the principle is corona discharge. This is a pure theory topic. Therefore, in the exam when this comes, you should not make a mistake in the diagram. So, in the textbook, they have given the diagram and they have given all the points. So, write it the same way, and the explanation also, what I have explained, the same thing is written in the text. So, charges go from here to A to C. From C, they cover the dome. Charges keep accumulating. Potential difference keeps increasing. More potential difference, more energy, more velocity, and artificial transmutation takes place. Okay, this completes the topic of Van de Graaff generator. Thank you. Now in this section we will learn, we have studied in the previous section 2 problems on capacitance and Van de Graaff. Now let me do the derivation of capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor. Now please remember, we have done the general formula for capacitance, that is Q equal to CV. That is a general formula. But now if they ask you particularly, what is the formula for a parallel plate capacitor, specific? You should know the difference between a general formula and a specific formula. What is the general formula for capacitance? Q equal to CV. But if I ask you what is the specific formula for a parallel plate capacitor, the formula is here. Look at the derivation first. Very easy derivation. Please look at it. Now this is a parallel plate capacitor. Now to get it, we make use of electric field E. We make use of electric field E. Everyone knows the basic formula of electric field is sigma by epsilon. Sigma is surface charge density and epsilon is the permittivity. If you don't know, please make a note. The most basic formula for E, that is electric field, is sigma by epsilon. Now please look at the board. Epsilon is nothing but epsilon naught into K. Means permittivity is permittivity of free space into dielectric constant. And everyone knows the formula for sigma. Sigma is surface charge density. Surface charge density is Q by A. Therefore, what is the formula of electric field? Electric field is sigma by epsilon. That is equal to sigma by epsilon naught K, because epsilon is epsilon naught K and sigma is charge upon area. Therefore, my formula for electric field is Q by A epsilon naught K, where Q is the charge, A is the area, epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space, and K is the dielectric constant. You also know from my few table what is the formula for E. The formula for E is V by D. We had V is equal to ER or V is equal to ED, where D is the distance between the plates and A is the area of each plate. Okay. Now, you also know E is equal to V by D. This is the basic formula from my table. Therefore, now I got two formulae for E. This is one and this is the second one. Therefore, if you notice in the two equations, LHS is same. LHS is E itself. RHS is Q by A epsilon naught K. Over here, it is V by D. Therefore, let me take V over this side. Therefore, I get Q by V is equal to A K epsilon naught by D. And everyone knows Q by V is C. Therefore, my formula for parallel plate capacitor is C is equal to A K epsilon naught by D. Okay. And in air, for air, I know dielectric constant is 1. Therefore, what is the formula for capacitance of air? It will be A epsilon naught by D, because K is 1. But in general, if they ask you what is the formula for parallel plate capacitor, you have to write C is equal to A K epsilon naught by D. Let me repeat two equations. E is equal to this, E is equal to this. Then just compare these two and you'll get the answer. Please remember, you should know E is equal to sigma by epsilon first. You should know epsilon is epsilon naught K. And you should also know sigma, surface charge density, is charge upon area. Next, you should know Q by V is C. Therefore, from now, if they ask you in general, what is the formula for parallel plate capacitor? It is A K epsilon naught by D. Now, this is my formula. Now, there are special cases in this. Case 1. Now, in between these two plates, I put a good conductor. Please look at this word carefully. I put a good conductor of thickness T. If I do this, in between the two plates, if I put the good conductor of thickness T, I have to replace D by D minus T. Then what will happen? What will happen to my capacitance? C is equal to A K epsilon naught by D minus T. This will be my formula. This is our case 1. Remember, it has to be a conductor, a good conductor. Only then you can replace D by D minus T. Now, what if instead of a conductor, I replace it with an insulator of thickness T? Then I have to replace D by D minus T into 1 minus 1 by K. Therefore, tell me what will be the new formula? C is equal to A K epsilon upon D minus T plus T by K. D minus T plus T by K. This is when an insulator of thickness T is put. Remember the two conditions. In the first condition, a good conductor is placed of thickness T. In the second condition, an insulator is placed of thickness T. In the first condition, the thickness D is replaced by d minus t. Therefore, in this formula, d is replaced by d minus t. In my next formula, d is replaced by d minus t into 1 minus 1 by k, or d minus t plus t by k. Now, if the entire space is filled by an insulator of dielectric constant K, now thickness won't come because the entire space is filled. Case 3. If the entire space is filled, then the new capacitor is K times old capacitor. In other words, very important formula, capacitance of any medium is K times capacitance of air. Capacitance of any medium is K times capacitance of air. Which medium? The medium that is filled between. Therefore, the three cases are, first one is a good conductor filled with thickness T, insulator of thickness T, and the third case is entire space is filled with an insulator of thickness T. Okay? Now, based on this, there are two problems, very easy to understand. One is, if you see example 8.17, page 209. Example 8.17, page 209. In that question, if you notice, they have given area is 4 centimeter square, which is 4 into 10 power minus 4 meter square, and the distance between the plates they have given 2 millimeter, which is 2 into 10 power minus 3 meter. In the first case, they are asking you to find the capacitance. Since no dielectric constant is given, it is understood it is of air, and you know the formula for capacitance of air, A epsilon naught by D. Therefore, I am using the same formula. Check. C is equal to A epsilon naught by D. A is 4 into 10 power minus 4. Epsilon naught that we have discussed in the first session, it is 8.85 into 10 power minus 12, and the thickness is 2 into 10 power minus 3. Therefore, you get the first answer. Second one, in the textbook they have done it in a different way. Let me tell you one thing. They have put K as 6.7. They are asking what is the new capacitance. I know this formula. Capacitance of a medium is K times capacitance of air. Did you get capacitance of air? Yes, I got it here. Do you know what is K? Yes, they have given 6.7. Therefore, capacitance of any medium is K times capacitance of air. You will solve it and you will get the answer. Or you can directly use this formula again. A K epsilon naught by D, and again you can get the answer. Okay? This is example 8.17. In example 8.18, what they have done is, please look at the board. They have said one air capacitance, which is 20 microfarad. Air capacitance 20 microfarad means 20 into 10 power minus 6 farad. Distance is given as 2 millimeter, which is 2 into 10 power minus 3 meter. Now, an insulator of thickness 1 millimeter is put with the dielectric constant 2. Calculate the new capacitance. Old capacitance is given. They are asking us to calculate the new capacitance. Now, I know the old capacitance was air. Therefore, the formula for air capacitance is A epsilon naught by D. And since now an insulator of thickness T is put, which case will come? This case will come. Therefore, the new capacitance will be A epsilon by D minus T plus T by K. Now, if I divide old capacitance by new capacitance, I will get this and this both will cancel. Therefore, if I put the value of D, T and K, I will get this answer. You can see it in the textbook. But please remember, I have used this formula, I have used this formula, I have used this, I have used this, I have used all this. But for this particular thing that you see on the board, over here we have done the derivation of parallel plate, case 1, case 2, case 3 of parallel plate, 2 examples in the textbook for parallel plate. So this completes the topic of capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor. Next we will go into the energy of a capacitor. So this completes your parallel plate capacitor. Now we will study what is the energy stored in a capacitor. Now remember, energy stored, capacitor is nothing but a battery. Therefore, imagine initially it is zero charge, means capacitor is uncharged. Therefore, what is the charge? 0. What is the final charge? Capital Q. Therefore, initial charge let it be 0. Final charge, let it be capital Q. Similarly, what is the initial potential? 0. What is the final potential? V. But while the capacitor is charging, for example, while the battery is charging, this is a capacitor or a battery. Initial charge 0, final charge capital Q. But while it is charging, let it have charge small q. What is initial potential? 0. What is final potential? Capital V. But while it is charging, let the potential be small letter v. Therefore, if you look at the board, V is the final potential, small v is the potential while it is charging, 0 is the initial potential. What is capital Q? Final charge. What is the charge while it is charging? Small letter q. And what is the initial charge? Initial charge is 0. Therefore, you know the formula Q equal to CV or V is equal to Q by C. Therefore, while it is charging, I can say V is equal to Q by C. And you know from our few table, the work done, W is equal to VQ. If you see the few table from electrostatics, the first session, we got V is equal to W by Q or W is equal to VQ. Now look at this, W is equal to VQ. Let me differentiate both sides. W will become dW, V will become small v, Q will become dQ. W will become dW, V will become small v, this final potential, this will be intermediate potential, Q will become dQ. Therefore, dW, instead of V, I will write Q by C dQ. Therefore, dW, instead of V, I will write Q by C dQ. Now, I am finding out work done. And you should know in physics derivations, whenever energy is asked, I always find work done and then I conclude work done is same as internal energy. Internal energy is denoted as U, and you know the unit of both work done and energy is joule. Therefore, it should not be a problem. Therefore, if you notice, I find out work done, and after I find out the work done, I will tell that same work done is same as energy. Means I don't need to find energy separately. Whatever answer I get for work done, that is the same answer for energy. Therefore, I got V is equal to Q by C. I got dW is equal to Q by C dQ. Now to find work done, I need W. But what do I have? I have dW. So the way to remove differentiation is by integration. Therefore, if I integrate dW, I get W. Integration of Q by C dQ. Now, since it is integration with respect to charge, what is initial charge? 0. What is final charge? Capital Q. Initial charge is 0. Final charge is capital Q. Therefore, I integrate between 0 to capital Q. Now, since I am integrating with respect to charge, C becomes a constant. So, 1 by C goes out. Therefore, work done is equal to 1 by C outside integration of Q dQ. Now, integration of Q dQ is same as integration of H dx, which is x square by 2. Here it is Q square by 2 between the limits 0 to Q. Therefore, work done is 1 by C, Q square by 2 between 0 to Q. Therefore, it will be 0 to capital Q. 1 by C constant, upper limit minus lower limit will give me W is equal to Q square by 2C. Will give me work done is equal to Q square by 2C. But I know Q is equal to CV. Therefore, work done is equal to C square V square by 2C. Therefore, my work done is same as internal energy, and the formula for my work done or internal energy is half CV square. Therefore, the formula for work done or internal energy is half CV square. Therefore, in future, if they ask you what is the work done or what is the energy stored in a capacitor, it is half CV square. And in which form is the energy stored? Energy is stored in the form of electrostatic energy. And where is the energy stored? Between the plates of a capacitor. Now, based on this, there is a problem. Please look at the board. They have said that if you see example 8.19, page number 210. Example 8.19, page number 210. They have told capacitance of air is 3 into 10 power minus 9 farad. They have said dielectric constant is 3 and thickness is 3 centimeter, but it is filled completely. Potential is 400 volt. What is the change in energy when it is removed? So first, listen to this. I have to find energy of air capacitor. Secondly, I have to find energy of a capacitor when dielectric is completely filled. Then I have to subtract the both. Now, first I have to find energy of air capacitor. You know the formula for energy, half CV square. Is C air known? Yes, they have given first itself. It is 3 into 10 power minus 9. Therefore, to find energy of air capacitor is direct. Energy of air capacitor is half CV square, but this time it is capacitance of air. Half constant P is given in the question as 400. Capacitance of air is 3 into 10 power minus 9. Therefore, I get energy of capacitance as 24 into 10 power minus 5 joule. Now, to find energy of a capacitor where a dielectric is placed completely. That is our case 3. If you see the previous section, it is case 3. So how do I get the new capacitance? New capacitance is K times old capacitance. Therefore, the new capacitance is K times old capacitance, or capacitance of a medium is K times capacitance of air. K is given in the question 3. Old capacitance also is given. Therefore, I got the new capacitance as 9 into 10 power minus 9. Now the procedure is same. Now my new value of capacitance is this. Again find the energy with this value. All other things remain the same. Half remains the same. V square remains the same. Instead of C air, I have to put C dash. That is 9 into 10 power minus 9. Therefore, I get energy with the dielectric as this 72 into 10 power minus 5. Therefore, I got the first energy as 24. Second energy as 72. Now I have to find the difference in energy. Difference in energy is this energy minus this energy. Therefore, I get the energy difference as 48 into 10 power minus 5. Therefore, if you notice, we have done the derivation of energy, and there is one problem in the text, that is 8.19. What you have to remember is this. Energy of a capacitor is half CV square. This completes the topic of energy of a capacitor.